Is this the place? Nothing really jumps out at me that might be the Chronicle.
I definitely feel its presence here. It should be close.
But how close is close?
Is this what you're looking for?
Who's there?
It's her!
Deidre!
So it's true. One among the scribes really is able to feel the presence of the false chronicles.
What?
She has the Chronicle. I can sense it.
Her?
So she beat us to it.
Not exactly. Look closely.
No, it all makes sense now.
What's going on here?
I can only feel the presence of a Chronicle when I consciously make an effort. That's why I didn't notice it last time I saw her. That woman's staff is a Chronicle.
What?
Very perceptive. This is my false chronicle, branded the Chronicle of Endless Travels. This staff is what lured you here in your haste. And another archivist is closing in on the 10th false chronicle as we speak.
No!
So what will this 10th book you speak of take away? What part of the world goes next, huh? You said the Order is using those books to keep towns and villages from going to other worlds. Don't give me that tripe. It's all a lie and you know it. Do you people even realize what you've done? 1 million people. You wiped away 1 million people.
The blame lies with them. With those who resisted. With the Magedom and all of you. You simply will not be reasonable. You insist on bloodshed.
What's going on?
This is bad.
Whew.
I just managed to close it off.
A wanderer.
Ha! Too bad. I'm not going anywhere. I'll take out every one of you and put an end to this madness.
Any action you take is futile.
What the?
So much power. It's the Chronicle of Endless Travels.
Look at all these gateways. I can't close them all.
There's no use in fighting any longer. I'll bring it to an end here. do you continue to fight so... Don't you realize the future... The future has already been determined.
Thank you. Have a look. Way to go. You sure worked hard. Here's your reward. Are you done?
Wait a minute. Shouldn't you be resting?
I'm feeling better, thanks to you.
We'd really like you to get some more rest, though.
You can't expect me to nap under these circumstances. I'm sure there's a good number of people in this castle who'd like to see me dead.
This physician and his nurse are both from the Magedom.
What?
They say you killed the venerable one of my people, too. But I have no desire for revenge. What good would it serve?
Exactly. So if you appreciate what we've done, I was hoping you could tell us what you know.
Take this.
The staff.
Go ahead and touch it. Then I'll tell you what you want to know.
I've got the Chronicle's power under control, so she can't do anything suspicious.
All right.
Oh! The Star Bearers! All of them were...
What was that?
The end of my world.
The end?
The One King came to my world as well. The Star Bearers tried to stop him, but he was much too powerful. After an arduous battle, each and every one of them were defeated. And that was the end of my world, just as it's written in the True Chronicle.
The True Chronicle?
This staff, the Chronicle of Endless Travels, was the true chronicle of my world.
I think I'm starting to get the picture now.
I don't know what type of being the One King is, or how he is able to interfere with other worlds. But he's written the future in the true chronicles of many worlds, and all of those futures end with him. In each world, events come to pass just as written, leading up to the descent of the One King. When he takes over a world, it comes to an end. Only a few refugees manage to escape to other worlds.
So, the original worlds of Flassaria Forest, the Marcina Plains, and that desert were all destroyed? And eventually, this world will end.
Whoa, slow down a second. So why is the Order waiting for the One King to come? Won't this world vanish too once he gets here?
The Order, or at least Velfred, doesn't think so. A world the One King descends upon doesn't actually vanish. It is fused into a world of his own. With a predetermined future, a perfectly ordered, peaceful world. One true way.
How can that be? It's unbelievable.
Perhaps it is hard to believe. There are no first-hand accounts of the One King's world. No one can be sure if the story is true or not. But Velfred believes it, and he's determined to expand the Order even through military force. Because those who do not accept the one true way cannot go to the world of the One King.
So he's doing this to take as many people as possible to the One King's world. Sounds pretty twisted to me.
Perhaps you're right.
So why are you part of the Order then? From what you've been saying, I get the impression that you don't believe in the Order. So why are you allied with them?
Because I don't want them to fight.
What?
Once the One King descends, will all but a remnant of this world really vanish? Or will it be fused to the One King's world, where only those who accept the one true way will enter? I don't know which is true. Maybe neither one of them is. But I know for sure that this world will end, as it's written in the True Chronicle. So there's no reason to fight the Order. No reason to shed more blood.
Huh?
But maybe you're wrong, too. If it's dangerous when the One King comes, we'll just have to keep him from coming. If he comes, we fight. We won't know whether or not we could stop him or win unless we try. Without even trying, the future really is already decided.
The Star Bearers of my world said just that, and look what happened. They all fought, and died.
Does that make it pointless? Meaningless? I don't think so. The ones who fought to protect your world had spirit, determination, it's all in there. It's all recorded in that staff of yours.
Huh?
How can you brand their courage as meaningless?
For a boy, you're...
Our leader's a pretty big talker for his age, isn't he?
Yes, he really is.
Oh yeah?
Isn't there a gateway in this castle?
Where'd that question come from all of a sudden?
Go there and wait for me. We'll continue this conversation there.
Huh?
Please.
Fine, I guess.
I got some work you'll really like. A new assignment, huh? Let's see. So you'll take on this quest? Who can I send? Hey, great leader! Want some work? A new assignment, huh? So you'll take on this quest? got a quest report waiting. Let's see. Way to go! You sure worked hard. Here's your reward. Way to go! You sure worked hard. Here's your reward. Are you done? Hey, great leader! Want some work? A new assignment, huh? Let's see. You've made up your mind, right? Who can I send? I gotcha. Want to see some other jobs? A new assignment, huh? You've made up your mind, right? You've got a quest report waiting. Let's see. Way to go! You sure worked hard. Here's your reward. Way to go! You sure worked hard. Here's your reward. Are you done?
What's going on?
It's Nova. And Sophia.
This isn't how it was supposed to be. You promised you'd leave Sophia out of this. Why did you use a false chronicle on Sophia?
She's the one who wanted it.
That's right. And Father knows what's best for me.
No. This can't be.
Stay back! Nova! Nova. No one raises a blade to my father.
Well, well. Quite the unexpected guest.
I don't know for sure, but it looks like a couple of friends are about to go at it here.
Belfred! How could you?
I'm afraid that should be my line, Deidre.
Are you attempting to defy my father as well?
Looks like a fight.
Lord Chancellor, what is this all about?
Huh?
What the?
Dirk!
What are you doing here?
Dirk.
Great, now what?
No!
Hey, what's going on? What just happened?
We're back. It's our castle.
Deidre, you made a gateway, didn't you? But we didn't get the 10th book. We didn't even smash up that old kook.
We didn't have a chance under those circumstances. More importantly, we've got to get Nova to the physician.
Oh, that's right. Hang in there, Pops.
Sophia.
quest report waiting. Let's see. Way to go! You sure worked hard. Here's your reward. Until next time.
Long time no see.
Hey, I saw your world, you know?
But how? I didn't think you could travel to other worlds.
Well, there's this weird place called the Ravine of Infinity where I saw it from. It's hard to explain. Anyway, what brings you here?
Oh, right. About the One King. When I came before, I told you how a remnant of some other world came to my world, right? The same thing's happened a number of times since then. Apparently, all those remnants are from worlds that were taken over by the One King.
Right, I've heard this before. Sounds like once all the Starbearers are gone from a world, that world's done for.
Wow, you're really up on what's happening. I'm impressed.
I just happened to hear about it.
That person I was searching for fell to the One King as well.
A remnant of his world came here too, along with the Chronicle of the Shining Legacy.
Not only his world, but Cougar's world as well.
The same thing will only happen for the number of books there are.
Right. Which means the One King will eventually come to this world and my own world as well. If we lose, then our worlds will most likely become as the others. What do you think it's all about?
All about?
Worlds of the Infinity are being lost at an alarming rate.
Really? So that's what's happening?
If this keeps up, the Infinity will eventually be reduced to a single world.
What?
I suspect it'll be the One King's world.
No, I can't let that happen. We've got to stop this madness.
That's why I came today. The One King wields tremendous power. Even Cougar and the one I was searching for both lost to him. And there were others. I've used gateways to travel to many worlds. But none of them were able to defeat the One King. None of them.
So what are you saying? That doesn't mean we can't beat him.
Somehow I knew you'd say that. But this war can't be won like other wars. And I heard something quite interesting at one of the worlds I visited. If we could hit the One King with all the power of the stars at once, he might just go down.
Power of the stars? You mean the marks of the stars we've been using?
No, not that. I mean turning the stars residing within us into energy. If the lives of the stars were joined together, we might have a fighting chance.
Lives of the stars? Don't you know what'll happen if you do that?
I do. Probably one Starbearer will remain, and the rest will die.
You can't be serious.
But what if there's no other way?
We just gotta keep the One King from coming here.
And how do you plan on doing that?
I don't know yet. If we can get a hold of that true Chronicle, maybe we can find a way. I can't think about sacrificing all our friends to kill the One King right now. My way comes first.
I can understand that. Just don't forget what we talked about. It is an option.
But I won't do it.
Fine. Well, I best be off now. I intend to look into any other possible methods. Let me know if you and your team come up with anything.
I will. And thanks for coming.
My pleasure. It's always so refreshing to chat with you. So long.
Excuse me.
Huh?
I'll be going to different worlds for information as well. I'll be fishing for ways to prevent the One King's dissension, or ways to defeat him altogether.
I appreciate your willingness, but are you sure?
Positive. Searching for information is what I do best. Much better than fighting. Well, I'll be traveling to a handful of outside worlds, but don't expect too much. I'll be back soon.
Next up is Sinus.
Sophia!
What?
Sophia! My daughter!
Pops, stay back!
What?
I must crush all who dare interfere with Father's plan.
What the?
No. Is this the 10th Chronicle? Don't do this, Sophia. You mustn't use that power. Sophia!
Things. It's like we're fighting a bunch of sand.
Get back!
Huh?
Ah!
Ah! Whoa!
Apparently, the best way to deal with a clump of sand is with brute force.
Thanks, guys. You really bailed us out.
Keep your guard up. I don't think this is over yet.
Sophia!
Again!
Sophia, you've got to stop this. Can't you hear me?
I'm...
What is this light?
No. Stop it, Sophia! Stop this! No! What's happened?
What the? She changed into something.
No. My Sophia. Sophia.
What's up with all this sand?
My sword just isn't working.
We can't win at this rate. I hate to say it, but we'll have to pull back.
No!
As much as I hate to turn my back on the enemy, it would be more shameful to let our reckless pride lead us to death.
Maybe you're right. Very well then. I'm with you.
Excellent. Truly, you are a princess of the blade.
Sophia! Sophia! Stop! You'll die if you go any further. Let go of me! That's my daughter! Sophia! My dear Sophia!
Just hang in there, Pops. You're gonna have to be patient.
Sophia!
Thank you. Have a look. Let's see. Way to go! You sure worked hard. Here's your reward. Are you done?
Hey Nova, you free to talk?
I already know what you want to ask.
Are you able to speak about it?
I am, but where should I start? Ah, yes. It all started when I received the power of a fake chronicle, a mark of the stars, from Valfred.
You got a mark of the stars?
Archivists are actually artificially created star-bearers, in a sense. All of them, except for me, were able to use a mark of the stars with help from the True Chronicle.
They can actually do that?
It would be more accurate to say that's all they can do. If a human gets a hold of the True Chronicle, containing the entire history of the world, that's all.
What do you mean, that's all?
It was still enough to ruin me. I don't know what caused it, but I don't even care at this point. After I received a mark from the Chronicle of the Sacred Twin Blades, I blacked out completely. And proceeded to slash away, at my own wife and daughter.
What?
My wife died instantly, and Sophia was critically wounded. And who was to come to my daughter's rescue but Valfred?
He presented a mark of the True Chronicle to Sophia, just as he had given one to me. The True Chronicle's power somehow corrected the fact that she was badly cut, and erased her wounds.
Oh.
But although her physical wounds were healed, she was still mentally scarred by what had happened. Sophia couldn't even look at me without trembling, and she would cry out in terror. Eventually, she overcame her fear by blotting me out of her mind and thinking of Valfred as her father.
Oh. How could she do that? I mean, it's all so weird, isn't it?
I learned to accept it, just as long as she was alive and I could be near her. But then Valfred buried the 10th Chronicle within her, knowing all along that others had vanished when the same had been done to them. And Sophia turned into that thing. I don't know how much longer she has left.
But she hasn't vanished yet.
What?
She hasn't vanished yet, so we can still help her. And Dirk changed when that book was buried in him, but he went back to normal right away.
You're right. I can't give up. I'll do whatever I can to save Sophia.
That's what I want to hear, Pops. We can find a way to save her.
What an amazing child. So much heart. Your friend has probably come up with a plan by now, don't you think?
Oh, that's right. Let's go see what he's cooked up.
New quests keep rolling in. A new assignment, huh? You might unearth a ton of secrets. You've made up your mind, right? Who can I send? Let's see. I gotcha. Want to see some other jobs? A new assignment, huh? You've made up your mind, right? Who can I send? I gotcha. Want to see some other jobs? See you later. gotta thank you. Have a look. Let's see. Wow, you're the best. Here's your reward. A new assignment, huh? You've made up your mind, right? Who can I send? I gotcha. Want to see some other jobs? Until next time. We gotta thank you. Have a look. Let's see. Oh, no. You've got a quest report waiting. Let's see. Way to go! You sure worked hard. Here's your reward.